Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Adrienne Montgomery. I'm with ERP VAR, and today we're going to be talking about Acumatica, 12 ways to automate AR collection, shipment, and payment. And I'm joined, thank you so much, by Matt St. John, Sales Executive over at Starship, Tim Teeter, Senior Director of Business Development over at YayPay, and American Payment Solutions, Patty Beneath. A little bit about the companies before we get started. We're going to be talking about the integrations between these three companies and Acumatica and the integrations between each other. Acumatica is the umbrella ERP that we're focusing on today, and it's adaptable cloud and mobile technology with an all-inclusive user licensing model. And they have applications for financials, distribution, manufacturing, project accounting, CRM, much more. And it's designed for mid-sized customers. And we're also joined by YayPay, and Tim is going to talk about the accounts receivable automation solution by YayPay, integrated with Acumatica. It helps collect money fast, easy, and it's predictable. Assists in credit collections and accounts receivable. It helps accounts receivable teams in enhancing the visibility in the collection process. It helps with team collaboration and increases your customer satisfaction. And we're also joined by American Payment Solutions. They are a leader in credit card processing. They have an endorsed merchant solutions provider for restaurant, hospitality, software companies, distribution, manufacturing, all the companies that are served with Acumatica. And they'll get you the lowest rate because they can take all the information in Acumatica and serve that information up to the credit card processing companies to get you level 3 processing rates. And Patty's going to talk a little bit about that and show you the interface with Acumatica. And Matt's going to be talking about Starship and how Starship connects shipping with order entry in Acumatica, customer service, and accounts receivable. They've been doing shipping software since 1989. They're a UPS Ready partner, Gold FedEx solution provider. And they automate small parcel, regional, and LTL shipments with Acumatica. They launched their Acumatica interface in 2016, but they're market share leaders in Sage and Microsoft Dynamics. So they've been doing this for a very long time. And just a little bit about the workflow. We're going to be talking about how Starship will automate all the shipping functionality by taking all the details of the shipment, finding the best carrier based on price and location of the customer, all the rules of the shipment, dimensional weight, and we'll take that information over to Acumatica, where YayPay will automate the accounts receivable process. And then American Payment Solutions will get you the best credit card processing rate with level 3 processing and serve all that information back up to YayPay to collect on the fulfilled invoices by Starship. You got the ball, Tim.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We make the collection process a lot more streamlined, a lot more, I call it frictionless collecting. When it comes to collecting on AR balances. So what I've done is, rather than do death by PowerPoint here, I think really it's a much better visual to talk through the process by which YayPay enhances and YayPay produces on the AR side. So what I've done is I've logged into our dashboard, and I'm showing you the front dashboard, and part of what YayPay delivers is the analytics side. So the high-level analytics, what you're looking at here is just some very basic information that, let's say, a controller or let's say a VP of finance or an accounting manager, they're much more interested in, so that they can manage up and manage to the CFO and let he or she know that the health of the receivable business. So we use the invoices that come over from the Acumatica side to produce this level of detail. So within YayPay, you can see your current balance at your fingertips. You can look to see what invoices have been put into dispute, what invoices are in the overdue buckets, what have been put into a promise to pay. So if, let's say, something has popped up on the AR collection or customer success workflow, and they have talked to the customer and they have promised to pay, it gets put into a different bucket within YayPay, and it's something that they can track and manage over time. On the credit card side of things, we have the pending queue, so that if there's anything that has been paid through YayPay via credit card, that gets put into pending. And then also things that fall into the paid bucket over this specific time horizon, over the last month time horizon, show up here. Scrolling down, just a couple of more metrics that I'd like to show. Day sales outstanding is a metric that a lot of accounts receivable departments use. Cash collected over a period of time. Open invoices that are open and outstanding at that point in time over that time horizon. Number of invoices that have reminders on them versus reminders that have been opened, and accounts requiring phone calls. So if, let's say, your day sales outstanding is not the metric that your accounts receivable department uses, you could use the average days to pay, which is another metric that gives you a much better view, trending view of your accounts receivable position. And before I jump in, a couple more other things here on the dashboard. We have our top 10 accounts and a couple of internal credit scores that we assign to them based on how well a company is working with you. So these are internal mechanisms that we assign to accounts, and it's predominantly based on are your customers paying on time? Are they paying late? Are they short paying? All of these things roll up into an algorithm, and we present them back to the customer to say whether or not they are A, B, C, D, or are they trending up or trending down. Open invoice total is another metric, so that you can look here to see what is overdue versus what is current. And obviously, you don't want your overdue invoices eclipsing your current invoices. And the communication piece is very important with YayPay. So we have a lot of communications, automated communications that go out that are based on workflows, and it's all dependent on a trigger point or a date. If, let's say, a customer goes past due, if they go past the 1 to 30 day bucket, or the 61 to 90, 91 plus, we have the ability to communicate directly with them through our custom workflows that get assigned to customers. And there are emails that can get sent. There are escalations that can get moved up within your organization. And there are also phone calls that can be scheduled automatically and put onto the task list of the collection department to follow up on based on specific trigger points. And these email reminders here on the right-hand side show you a high-level overview, what has been sent, what has been viewed, and what has failed. Scrolling down, a couple more items here. Cash collected on a daily basis. This is a very interesting thing for a controller to look at to make sure that cash is coming in the door and from what bucket it is coming out of, what collection bucket the cash is being produced from. And lastly, I'll end up on this from the prediction side of things. YayPay is a tool that uses machine learning, and it gets smarter over time. And based on the number of invoices that are coming in and the payments that have been made to those invoices, we are able to take that information and predict the probability of payment to be made on a specific date. And so we can predict invoices that are predicted to be unpaid, predicted to be paid, and we also have this separate bucket that is promise to pay, which is a much more direct correspondence with the customer that shows that shows a promise to pay a certain amount of money on a certain date. So as customers use YayPay, the algorithm gets smarter and the machine learning tool kicks in, and the predictability gets much more and more accurate as time goes on. So the last thing I'll show here before I hand it back over to Matt, I don't want to take all of our time, is this this aging report. And many of us who have worked in finance or worked in collections and know that the tool of choice is really Excel, and working on a download from either your accounts receivable system or your billing system, and working off of a spreadsheet, which is in and of itself a silo of information. If you take notes on an account and you put it into a row or into a column, it just stays with that spreadsheet, and it's really out of date as soon as you start taking notes, and it's not something that you can share across the organization. What we have built with YayPay is a on-demand ability to look at your receivable position live, and with live data being pulled from the Acumatica system. So this is in essence the replacement for an Excel workflow and workbook that you can filter based on any number of criteria, and these are all filters that have been specifically tuned for a collection department. So if you're looking to filter off of a specific bucket, we can do that. If it's a paused payment bucket, or if it's anything that has open disputes, these are things that we can definitely filter on. And as we drill into, let's say, these accounts, this is, again, live information that is coming over from the Acumatica system that is being pushed over as a part of this this push and pull of information that we have from the source system. These give you all of the open invoices, the closed invoices, and payments that have been made to those invoices over the lifetime of the customer. And as we are working with this customer, that I think one of the things that we talked about early on is just this whole communication process and sharing of information across the organization. As you can see, we store and track every single piece of correspondence, every email that gets sent, every call that gets logged, every note that is taken on an order or on a customer, and any dispute that is opened. We track and monitor that information so that everybody in the organization is really on the same page when it comes to managing the collection process for an organization. On the right-hand side here, we have connections into a CRM. We actually have a direct connection into Salesforce CRM, but we can generally work with any type of CRM solution that, as a part of the onboarding process, we can pull over all of the contact level details. So if we want to email, or if we want to make a phone call, or if we want to log a note with the account, we can log the call, email, or note within YayPay, and everything gets set within the activity. So if, let's say, I want to send a manual statement reminder, I'm on the phone with the prospect, and I want to send a statement reminder to them, and I'm going to choose the individual that I want to send this to. We have standard templates of these reminders that you can use. You can create your own, but we have a set of these that you can use and correspond with your customers. But once I send this, it is a correspondence that gets sent, and it is a statement reminder. So what this does is that as a part of the statement reminder that gets sent, there is a link that goes to a statement portal. And so with that statement portal, the customer who received the email can open up that statement portal, and they can get access to all of their invoices, and access to their invoices to either pay or promise to pay, or put in a dispute if they wanted to log a dispute with an invoice, or they can partially pay. And this is where I think the linkage with APS comes in. If the customer that received the email and opens up the statement link wants to pay by credit card, this is really where the connection with APS comes into play, We can offer the platform to allow for frictionless accounts receivable. And if they want to pay by credit card or ACH, it's either or, we offer them the capability of doing that. So with that, they have the ability to enter in their information, as well as the billing or credit card information. And once this gets submitted, and I go back to the statement, that payment will now be in pending, and there is also an open dispute on that. So what I have here is a platform that allows customers to provide payments on the APS side with credit card and also through ACH. And it's, as Patty will talk about, it's PCI compliant and all of the bells and whistles with level 3 and everything that needs to happen with a credit card process. Adrian, if to hand the ball over to, if Matt is ready.
And just to preface everyone who might have come in a little bit later, Matt's going to show us Starship that automates the shipping process and it updates accounts receivable that the shipment has been fulfilled, where the invoice will be updated with that shipment fulfillment. So if you have a collections person, they can look at all that information to enhance the collections process. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Matt to show us Starship. Thank you, Matt.
The center of my screen right now is the actual Starship program. So as you can see, Starship will live outside of Acumatica. So a nice thing is, you know, as a shipper, I can just have Starship on installed on my shipping machine and just work directly from Starship. So with the integration to Acumatica, on the upper left-hand side here, I have my source document. We can pull by sales order, shipment, or customer. Most clients pull by shipment number. So inside of Acumatica, we can create the shipment, and then Starship will pull in the data directly from Acumatica. So here I'll just put in our shipment number. We do have a magnifying glass you can look up by using the magnifying glass. From there, we can get into batch processing. We can manually type in, as I did, type in the shipment number. Or if your pick sheets or whatever you're shipping against are barcoded, you can actually just use a wedge type scanner as well and scan in that source document number. So Starship's really just mapping fields from Acumatica. So based off ship via fields, Starship's automatically going to populate the carrier service, billing type, account information for my shipper. So we can get into automating third-party shipments, have Starship automatically change it to third-party, and select the customer's account information. Dealing with a lot of clients, I know a lot of times third-party shipments are kind of a pain because they actually do a comment line that says, hey, please make sure you ship on customer's account 1234, and it's up to the shipper to actually stop, make sure they see that note, and then actually put in the correct account number. So just an example of one way we can help automate different types of shipments. The sender, of course, we're pulling from the company that is open inside Acumatica. Recipient is coming from the ship to, from that shipment. Starship will do address validation. We do validate ZIP+4. We also will validate the commercial residential flag. So going to help save on those address correction fees as well as the commercial residential correction fee. But down below in the packaging view, this is where we're bringing in the item detail. So Starship's going to pull order header information as well as that line item detail. So I'm just going to expand this packaging view. A couple different scenarios we can have going on here. One thing I have my system doing is Starship can automatically learn, or you can manually set up packaging scenarios. So if you have certain items that always go into a certain box, Starship can automatically package those items for your shipper. So in this case, my Acer laptop, that's going into my Acer laptop box, and then the air hockey table going into my air hockey box. If you're doing this inside of Acumatica and the shipment screen, Starship will pull it in however you define it from the shipment screen. But in this case, again, I'm just pulling it in. No packaging was done in Acumatica. Starship has packaging scenarios, so it's automatically packing these items for me. The Acer laptop and the air hockey box that I've set up, this is part of Starship's custom package database where you guys can set up your own custom packaging. So that can be boxes, bags, bales, pallets, so on and so forth. A nice thing with using custom boxes, as you can see, once they're set up, Starship will automatically populate the dimensions Okay. So again, both of these, the dimensions are set up. We do integrate with most scales. We can pull weights from Acumatica, or if you have a scale hooked up, we can automatically pull weights from a scale, or we can actually just manually type that in as a shipper. I can type that in. This actual grayed out tier weight here, or actual build weight, that's actually the dimensional weight. So I know nowadays it's a big thing with UPS and FedEx, the dim weight. So we also will send the correct dimensional weight to the carrier. So we're going to also help save on those dimensional correction fees. We also do integrate with USPS. So one nice thing about using our USPS module, of course, we don't have to worry about dimensional weights. And our module, actually, you gain access to some pretty good rates. They are discounted than normal published rates, or, if you sign up, currently have an account, reach out to me and I can see if our current rates can beat yours. And 9 times out of 10, they do. All right. So that's the packaging detail. On the line item detail, bring up a line item here, show you Starship's database for your inventory items. So again, I'm pulling this information from Acumatica, but I can also grab additional information from Starship's database, because Starship is going to start storing your inventory items. Okay, we do this because, for example, this being an international order, in Acumatica, there's not a spot for, say, all this required information. So as you can see, Starship, we can set that up. We can store that info. Harmonized codes, we actually have our own lookup. But I can look this up by code by description. So if this was missing, Starship would alert my shipper and say, hey, you need to add a Schedule B or harmonized code. They can simply come in here and add it. If these fields do live, if you have a customized Acumatica system and they live inside of Acumatica, we can change the mappings and pull them in, or we can even make these just static fields. Okay, that's the line item detail. Next step, usually what our shippers will do is rate shop. So when Starship rates your shops, we are actually making a live call to the carrier. So UPS, FedEx, currently we have about 26 different carrier modules, and that's including parcel as well as LTL carriers. So as you can see, we're sending them your live account information. So we are going to return your live contract rates. We can also return published list rates if you'd like to see those. Also going to return estimated delivery. I can change this and see by business days, by total days. So that's rate shopping. That's doing it manually. With Starship, we can also set up ship via rules, where we can have Starship automatically do the rate shopping and then select the carrier service based off your own criteria. So, hey, Starship automatically select the carrier service that maybe is the least expensive. So Starship can also do that. The charges tab is a breakdown of the charges. I don't have to click on this to actually process a shipment, but I like to show it because with Starship, you can also get into setting up freight rules. Okay, so here I have a freight rule set up. This customer is actually, I just have a flat 2% that I'm going to apply onto this shipment. So freight rules, as you can see, are percentages. They can be flat rates. It could be min-maxes. It can go all the way down to, I call the criteria, the triggers for these, all the way down to line item detail. So I have the clients that ship oversized items. So they simply create a rule that says, hey, anytime item 1, 2, 3, 4 is on an order, automatically add $20 because it's an oversized item. Okay. So next step, when I'm ready to actually ship and process this order as a shipper, I can click the ship and process button or just click the F5 key. But as soon as I do that, I will get my shipping documents. Starship shipping documents, you're going to see I just preview them for the sake of the demo, but these most certainly can go to thermal printers, laser printers, of course. We do print, in this case as being international, we do print international documents, and you'll see those. If this was an LTL shipment, we also can do bill of lading forms, pallet labels, so on and so forth. Okay. Also, for the sake of the demo, I am using this is actually what we call our smart label. So the smart label does print, as you can see, the shipping label and the packaging list together. So this would go to a laser printer. But as I just mentioned, most certainly we can send our shipping label to a thermal printer. And if you wanted to use Starship's packing list, you actually have the option. That can go to a thermal printer as well. Or you can just send it to a laser printer and print it to paper. Okay, so get label for box 1, box 2. And again, because this is an international document, we have our NAFTA form if I need to print that. And order header, line item detail, because Starship has all that information, is going to generate on the document. Same thing for a bill of lading form. Our documents can be customized, so maybe you want them pre-signed, name, date, so on and so forth. Documents can be customized. Each customized document, you can also assign printing rules. So, you know, hey, maybe customer ABC needs this commercial invoice to look a certain way. You can create a template for that customer and then have it print when the shipment is for that customer. These documents also, you can save them to PDF and, you know, maybe a network share folder if you wanted to. But again, I click ship and process, get my shipping documents, you know, put them on the box, stick them inside the box. As a shipper now, it's rinse repeat cycle. I just go on and select my next shipment. Okay. And I'll just switch gears or switch hats here, and I'll jump back into Acumatica so I can show you the write back. I'll bring up shipment 1379. So this is the one we just shipped. Okay, I'll go to the shipping settings. Okay, so freight write back. Right. So freight costs, we are going to pass back your contract rate, so what this is going to cost you, and then the freight amount, that's actually what you're charging the customer for the freight. Okay, so you can always do a comparison, make sure you're not losing money there. And then on the packages, again, I did the boxes inside Starship, so we do reverse translate that box ID back so I can see what was packed in each box type. As you can see, tracking numbers, customer reference 1, I set this up to send back the carrier service, and then customer reference 2 is actual ship date. I know it doesn't match today's, but a little behind here. The reference fields you can change on what you want to write back, and then on the notes field, we kind of just do a summary of all that information, so with the weights and the tracking numbers. All right. And real quick, also included with Starship is 2 of our programs here. This is Dashboard, so this is our reporting tool. So a nice thing with Dashboard, it can be installed in as many workstations as you like. It does not require any additional seats or licenses for Starship. So again, reporting tool, I have some quick performance indicators up here. Shipment by user. With Starship, each of your users can have their own login, their own security roles and features, so you can see who's shipping what. A couple of canned reports. We do have a late delivery report that will go out and compare the guaranteed delivery date to the actual delivery date. So it's going to let you know any shipment that wasn't delivered on time, so you can contact the carrier and try to get a refund. And then we also have a charge comparison report. So that's going to compare the applied, so what you're charging the customer for a shipment, to the actual contract rate, so what the carrier is going to charge you. And in the third column is, of course, the plus or minus. Again, just a quick, simple way you can find out, make sure you're not losing money on your shipments. So just an example of some of the reports you can run. And then also with Starship, you get our e-Notify program. So with e-Notify, you can create your own custom templates. I mean, if some of you are using, like, say, UPS and using Quantum View, it's usually all branded UPS. So this, you can put your own company logo on, build your brand awareness. These are very simple to create. You know, as you can see here, I can show my customer package item to box detail. Tracking numbers are hyperlinked. You know, I can let them know the carrier, you know, the date it's coming. I can do templates with promo codes. And then just like our printing rules, with the emailing rules, you can have certain templates go to only certain customers, you know, again, based off your criteria. Really, that's kind of Starship in a 30,000-foot overview.
Thank you, Matt. And really appreciate the information that you're sharing right now. Talk about automation, compliance, security all across the board. Tim, great presentation in regards to your 24-hour collection agent is the way that I see YayPay. Basically automates and helps us keep track of our customers. The detailed analytics regarding how our customers' payment habits are will definitely help us to have a clearer picture of who we have to focus on as far as collections, and of course YayPay will take care of that. And then not to mention with Starship, the rate shopping, the shipping documents, the labels, the details available on the dashboard, and then the shipping notifications, just to mention a few of the items that you presented today, are all crucial to making sure that we provide the best customer service possible. And with Acumatica, the true cloud solution, how can anything go wrong? Now let's figure out a way to get you paid once you have those invoices and the items that you sell at your customer site. With YayPay, of course, the automation comes into play, and your customers are receiving the invoices. They can go into the invoice and make your payment as Tim was showing you. And then we want to make sure that when you do receive the payments via credit card, you obtain the lowest rates possible in the industry. And I just want to explain a little bit about how those rates can become available to you. Now, with American Payment Solutions, we are a gateway provider as well as a credit card processor. So all of the services go directly through us. If anything should go wrong with credit card processing in general, you don't have to go to the 20 million different providers or a gateway provider, an ERP provider. You can come to us and we will make sure to resolve the issue for you and help you to take advantage of the level 3 rates. Now, level 3 is a program that was put in place in about 2008, where Visa and MasterCard offered to lower the rates in half and sometimes even lower than half to merchants that were processing within the continental U.S. any business-to-business or business-to-government transactions. The average savings, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been looking at the PowerPoint, and I won't torture you with too much of a PowerPoint, take a look at it now, because the average savings is $18,000 per year. And I have to tell you, I have actually seen 3 times since I've been with American Payment Solutions a savings of over $112,000 a year. And this is simply by processing the transactions through level 3. Now I'm going to show you exactly what is required in order to obtain the level 3 rates. Before I go into that next slide, I do want to point out the fact that 80% of companies still do not know or understand level 3 and therefore do not take advantage of it. In this case, I want to make sure that anybody that is processing credit card transactions is familiar and learns about level 3. Look at American Payment Solutions as your credit card processing merchant mentor, where we can actually offer to help you actually compare the different pricing that's available out there to you. We will help you with searching other processors and understanding where the fees are coming from so that you also know where exactly there is room for savings. What you see on the screen right now are the data fields that are required by Visa and MasterCard in order for you to obtain the level 3 rates. Now, level 3 rates can go from 2.65 on average to 1.85. I've seen the rates go as low as 0.03% depending on the volume of the transaction. And every time you process a transaction, we will take the fields from Acumatica, deliver them to Visa MasterCard, and then determine whether or not they do qualify for level 3. If they do, you get the savings. If they don't, there's nothing lost. Let Acumatica do the heavy lifting. So as I mentioned, we have the 24-hour collection agency with YayPay, and we have the automated shipping with the rate shopping, the compliance with Starship, and with American Payment Solutions, you have the PCI compliance at no charge. We provide, or we turn on the credit card processing, installation, implementation, training, maintenance, and support at no charge, and we make sure that you obtain the level 3 rates that you deserve. Now, here is an analysis review that we actually did present to one of our merchants. Notice how we show that the initial rates or tiered structure that they were receiving came from the different, and I said tiered structure. So in this case, we talk about the different types of fee structures that are available. Many of you have come to us and have expressed that you love flat rates, and that is definitely something that we can work with at any time with you. Flat rates, a tiered structure, or interchange plus. We will review each one of the different payment fee structures and help you determine which is best for your company. And then we will show you the savings. So once we do take a look at your statement and find out the types of cards you're receiving, we can determine the level of savings that you are entitled to. Now, we also integrate to many other different products out there, such as Sage. If you have an e-commerce solution, we integrate with SimCloud, with Magento. We also integrate with Starship, of course, and YayPay, Avalara, WooCommerce. If there are any integrated products that you would like to work with, let us know, and we will definitely work with you to make sure that we can accommodate the solution with American Payment Solutions as well. I'd like to also introduce our card present and credit card processing for Acumatica, which is now allowing you to accept credit card transactions with a chip. So you can accept them directly into Acumatica. We will also be able to take advantage of level 3 rates, and you do not have to change your process workflow within Acumatica at all. Now, last but not least, on the screen, you're going to see many of the challenges that have been brought to us by different merchants. I won't read the challenges. I want to focus more on the solutions. I mentioned already that we do not charge for turning on the credit card processing and set up training, maintenance, or support. And I do want to repeat the fact that you can see us as your mentor when it comes to merchant processing, because we are happy to compare pricing for you, check the different providers available, and show you the best rate available and the one that's most convenient for your company. Level 3 is completely automated. You do not have to worry about keying in any of the fields that are required by Visa, MasterCard. We offer 12-hour funding, and if necessary, we've also been able to offer 4-hour and 6-hour funding. So if you need it, let us know. This is available through all card brands, especially if we put you in a program called American Express Optic Blue, if you're accepting American Express, of course. And then we offer free PCI support. We have a team that's dedicated exclusively to making sure that all of our merchants become and remain PCI compliant. We have a live support team, so that means if you call us any day, any time, we guarantee a live human being on the other side of the line. So before I show you what exactly is needed in order to find out more about your current statement and understanding it, I just wanted to briefly show you what a transaction would look like within Acumatica. So say, for example, the transaction was processed in accounts receivable sales order. You would follow the exact same process in Acumatica, with the difference that you can actually have ACH or credit card processing preset under your customers. You can have as many credit cards set up under the customer. There are no limits. I know that with Authorize.net, which is something that many people use, there's a limit of 10. With us, you have to forget about the limits and just enter as many credit cards as you need. The information that you will be entering when you enter a credit card is what you see on the screen right now. We will tokenize the information and store it in our secured vault. And then you can basically continue your standard workflow process within Acumatica. We try to take advantage of the features that you already have, and I recently had processed this particular transaction. You can pre-authorize at a lower amount and then add a shipping fee at a later time, or if Starship populates the shipping fee after they rate shop, we can increase the amount and capture the amount including the shipping fee. So you can definitely do that. Under payments and applications, you can also apply multiple payment types against an invoice. So you can either pre-authorize or capture within the sales order, and in payments and applications, you can apply payments directly against invoices, and again, multiple payment types definitely available. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to mention that we're planning to be at the Acumatica Roadshow in Boston. We hope to see everybody there. And with that, I'd like to hand it back over to you, Adrian.
Thank you so much, Patty. I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen real quick. And it will have all the contact information. There you go. So I'll flash that up real quick. And just thank you, everybody, so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us. We really appreciate it.